Honey, I'm going out with the boys, Thomas announced. Make sure Barry finishes all his homework. Roxanne sighed as Thomas got out the door in record time. He'd always leave her to take care of Barry alone, whether it be going to work or to see other women, as she was sure he was doing. Without much of a choice, Roxanne sat next to Barry while he just filled out all his math problems. Admittedly, this was kind of nice for her. Having a quiet moment with her son always relieved her of the stress she felt. Then again, she knew Barry was quick to do his homework out of fear of what Thomas might do. Maybe this quiet moment was more unnerving than relaxing. The doorbell ring that came after certainly was startling, though. Just a second, Barry, Roxanne said. Barry remained at the table, still with many problems left to go. Heading to the door, Roxanne remembered one time Thomas came back after about 5 minutes when he went out, got his phone, and chastised Roxanne for not reminding him. Opening the door, she prepped herself for such an occurrence. Well, Stacy taunted, if it isn't the most desperate housewife of all time. Roxanne giggled. She always loved hearing Stacy's one-liners back in high school. Sadly, they didn't see each other as much now. Let's go out, Stacy proposed. Jeez, it was crazy. Somebody said something to Roxanne and she'd just feel all kinds of emotions no matter what. She could go out with Stacy and have some fun, then come home to another long-winded lecture from Thomas. I'm sorry, Stacy. I can't, Roxanne explained. I have to stay here with Barry. Bring him, Stacy insisted. It's Denny's birthday. Roxanne tried to think of an excuse she didn't want to make. I have to make sure he finishes his homework. We have family day tomorrow. Family day, yay! Stacy sarcastically squealed. Mopping the floors, raking the leaves, cooking meatloaf, maybe restaurant or a movie, and even then Tom's still being a total pain that Stacy! Come on, Roxanne, Stacy said with all seriousness. You and Barry need a break. Roxanne sighed. Stacy had always been a loyal and supportive friend. It would be hard to turn down an offer from such a person, but it'd be equally hard to run the risk of her and her son getting in trouble. But at this point, maybe a little trouble would be worth it. I can't believe you talked me into this, Roxanne muttered as she, Barry, and Stacy waltzed into the party. Mommy's here, Frank announced from the backyard. All right, boys, light up. Frank motioned for Roxanne, Barry, and Stacy to come out back. Stacy smiled at Roxanne, trying to heighten attention. In the backyard, people were gathered around to set up a stage. Pretty big production, Roxanne thought, watching from the patio. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Frank proclaimed as he stepped on stage. Please welcome the main event of the night, aside from you, of course, Denny, the one, the only, Max a Million. Roxanne's eyes bulged, her mouth gaped, and her heart throbbed. She'd never heard of such a band before, but judging by the name, she had an idea of who was the frontman. And judging by Stacy's eyebrows, her idea was probably true. The crowd cheered amongst the opening drums that PJ provided. Then came the lone power note from Bobby's bass and a certain someone's guitar. This certain someone rocked a backwards cap and visor sunglasses, and he looked super hot. Open up your eye, take a look at me. At the picture fixed in your memory. I'm driven by the rhythm like the beat of a heart, and I won't stop until I start to stand out. Stand out. Oh, this brought back great memories for Roxanne. The same guy in the visors put on a little show for her with this very song, way back in the day. Some people settle for the typical thing, living all their lives waiting in the wings. It ain't a question of if, just a matter of time before I move to the front of the line. And just then, a cute little guitarist noticed her and almost forgot to keep singing. And once you're watching every move that I make, you gotta believe that I got what it takes. And with that, Stacy shoved Roxanne into the crowd. Roxanne looked back at her friend with slight resent, but Stacy knew what her friend wanted. So Roxanne just shifted her way through the crowd until she found herself up at the front, right before Maximilian Goof. Stand out above the crowd, even if I gotta shout out loud. Tomorrow's the only face you'll see. I wanna stand out till you notice me. And it was then that Max saw the one that had got away before his eyes once again. She had her shoulders up and her hand clutching her wrist. PJ and Bobby knew what it was. They nodded at Max. Do it, buddy, their smiles said. But like Roxanne, Max was shy too. Should he really try to get her to like him before? Aren't they adults now? Since when do high school crushes make it 10 years after the fact? Well, Max was kind of holding up the show at this point, and the crowd could kind of tell what was going on. Best not to disappoint the fans. If I could make you stop and take a look at me instead of just walking by. Max simply strolled over to Roxanne. Still on the stage, he knelt down in front of her, looking her right in the eyes. Stacy couldn't help but clap gleefully. It's nothing that I wouldn't do if it was getting you to notice I'm alive. Roxanne hadn't felt like this in a long time. Nervous, but in a good way. If only for a moment, she completely forgot about Thomas and her strict, controlling life. And for the first time in forever, Max felt his heart race with pure joy. The woman who accepted him for who he truly was had returned. If only for a moment, he suspected. All I need is half a chance, a second thought, a second glance will prove I got whatever it takes. It's a piece of cake to stand out above the crowd, even if I gotta shout out loud. Tomorrow's the only face you'll see. I wanna stand out till you notice me. Watch out, Bear! You watch out, Dan. Barry and Denny were playing the kind of game Thomas would not have in the house. Actually, he wouldn't really have any games at his house, aside from Well Begun is Half Done, otherwise entitled Clean Up the House for the Love of God. Max happened to catch the two boys having fun. He couldn't help but think of when he and PJ would play games all the time when they were kids. Barry, with his laughs and high-pitched shouts, seemed so full of that carefree spirit Max lost so long ago. And then, as he wandered through the house, he spotted Roxanne standing all alone in the study. This is your chance. Don't blow it, he thought. Cautiously, he poked his head in. Hey, Roxanne, he said. Roxanne turned to see that cute little boy she used to love, all grown up. It was like he hadn't changed a bit. Still fun-loving, still gorgeous, and still goofy. Hey, Max, she replied. Long time no see. Max raised his eyebrows. 10 years were a long time, but it felt 10 times longer. You did really good tonight, Roxanne complimented. Barry really liked it. Thanks, Max replied. Barry, that's your son? Yeah. Seems really nice. He is. Then the two were silent, not knowing what to say. With Max, Roxanne was the only person where he never really knew what to say. With his friends and father, he always felt comfortable saying what was on his mind, and with people he didn't like, such as Pete, he just said what he had to say. But with Roxanne, he really wanted her to like him, so he always tried to think of the best thing he could possibly say, or just regular small talk. Who's the lucky man? Asked Max. When Roxanne heard that question, it brought her right back to her typical terrified state. When it came to loss of words with her, she was always afraid someone would laugh at her, or in Thomas's case, go into a crazy tirade. Thomas, Roxanne answered. He's a superintendent for SCA. Oh, really? Yeah. SCA, or Spoonerville Communications Association, was pretty much the highest ranking communications manufacturer in town. Roxanne deserves a man with money, Max thought. Hey, Max? Yeah? Roxanne fidgeted with her fingers. Max could tell she was nervous. Do you think you could... Roxanne stammered. Maybe, if it's not too much trouble, would you mind... Could you come and look after Barry next weekend? Well, that made Max feel uneasy in every possible way. He'd never been a babysitter before, but being with Barry probably meant getting to spend more time with his dream girl. I mean, I'm sure I could find someone else. No, Roxanne, Max quickly said. I can do that. Really? Yeah. Good. Great. Terrific. Wonderful. All right. Okay. Roxanne began, trying to diffuse the awkwardness. I think I better take Barry home. Okay, sure, Max replied. So Roxanne just went and got Barry off the game at apparently the worst time possible and said her goodbyes to Stacy. Just before they got out the door, Max held them up. Roxanne, he said, it's good to see you again. Yeah, you too, Max. Barry wondered who that was as he and his mother went out the door. By the time Roxanne and Barry got back, Thomas was sitting at the dinner table, where the homework still remained. Roxanne quickly sent Barry up to bed. Hey, sweetie, Roxanne quickly said. It's funny, Thomas remarked. I didn't know .005 times 1,000 equaled blank. He'll finish it tomorrow, Roxanne shrugged. She wasn't about to have her and Barry's once-in-a-while break ruined by Thomas's uptightness. Roxanne, Thomas declared, he's got chores to do tomorrow, and we've got to go out to the party with Mr. Lavender. Where'd you go anyway, huh? Roxanne didn't say anything. She just marched up the stairs, ignoring her husband. Thomas just sat there stunned. Getting ignored was unheard of to him. The next weekend, Thomas grumbled as he took the trash out front. Do I have to do everything myself, he thought. And just then, a whistling, slackly dressed individual came waltzing into the driveway. Sir, can I help you? Asked Thomas. Well, I believe you must be Thomas, Max said happily. Maximilian, your son's new babysitter, at your service. Max held out his hand, but Thomas didn't shake. His eyes just shifted up and down from Max's hand to Max's face.